All right, so we're here today at the salvage yard, and we're testing out this new tool by Merrick tool. It's a lug nut socket. It's a very unique lug nut socket because it's got moving parts, and these jaws actually travel along those cams and grip the flats of the lug nut. So this socket is compatible with any lug nut. You can use it on any lug nut style that fits per the size of this socket. Now this socket will unscrew the 3/4 inch and also the 19 millimeter. So there's some travel there. The jaws allow it to travel. The cams allow the jaws to travel and fit more than one size. So anything in that range of 19 millimeter to 3/4. If there's a little bit of disfiguration on the lug nut, this will still work because it has a little bit of flexibility in the travel. Now, these particular lug nuts on this 2006 Ford Explorer are two-piece lug nuts, and what it is a chrome-plated shell, a thin, softer chrome-plated shell that gets crimped down over the steel lug nut. And sometimes you can come up and actually find a little slop in that shell, and other times it feels tighter. And in this case, it does feel tighter. But what happens is when you put a standard socket on that doesn't have any moving, the traditional socket that everyone's used to, it's just solid. It doesn't have any moving parts like this one does. If you put those on here, what's going to happen is it's going to try to, it's going to be loose. It's not going to grip it. It's going to find the corners of that, and then it's going to totally disfigure that lug nut. And so then it'll make it very difficult for another socket to go back over that. And now with this socket, what will happen is it'll grip down over, it'll lock down on top of those flats, and it won't go to the edge because the cams force the jaws to travel directly onto the flats, and then from there the lug nut will unscrew. So we'll unscrew all these and take a look at them. Okay, so all those are loose. Okay, so you can actually see sort of the imprint that we made, the flats, on the flats. We didn't distort this. There's the crimped part of the outer shell onto the steel lug nut, as you can see. So at the worst, any distortion that comes from these jaws that grip down on the flats is going to be a compression. It's going to be a compression. It's not going to go to the corners and change the shape to prevent a socket from coming back on it. What it'll do is it'll just compress to make that shell fit tighter onto the steel lug nut. So that works to the benefit of whoever's working on this lug nut. So any distortion with this socket will be a good thing, as opposed to any other socket that is traditionally used, that is solid, no moving parts, that finds the corners. That'll distort the socket, and you won't be able to get the socket back on. So we can tighten these back up now. And that's that.